I went on my most spontaneous trip yet and experienced solo international travel for the first time when I spent 3 days in Barcelona. I learned a lot about and became enamored with Antoni Gaudi's architectural style, discovered that I love ceramic tile mosaics and stained glass. I don't particularly like Spanish food, and if I give myself the opportunity, I really enjoy my own company. And before I knew it, it was time to come back to Canada. It's funny how the journey back home always feels like it goes by so much quicker, but I've really come to enjoy those bittersweet moments as times to reflect on what I've done and where I'm going. I reflect on how grateful I am to have had this opportunity, for the people and circumstances that made it possible, and also to myself for taking the risk and the time and effort, and for saying yes to life and to myself and to the uncertainty. My loved ones are scattered around the globe, and this can make it seem like I'm always leaving, always having to say goodbye. At times like this, I reflect on these words from A. Milne: how lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. I live in a small village in northern British Columbia. It's a community that is surrounded by nature and has a highway running through it. I once wrote a poem about this village that was published in the local paper, where I described it as a pit stop on your travels, a drive-through village where they fill potholes with gravel. To me, it's never felt like a place that I wanted to make my permanent home. But then again, do any of us really have a permanent home? Even when we have a plan, I feel like it's indefinite at best. For quite a long time after I moved here, I felt a resistance to really settling in. I suppose I didn't want to become complacent or to lose sight of my longer-term goals and find myself still stuck here 10 or 20 years down the line. Yet, it has now been 6 years, and although I haven't changed my mind about wanting to settle down here or lost sight of what I'm working towards, I am glad that I have embraced this phase of my life. I've enjoyed being this close to my family and to nature. I've enjoyed the quiet, the lack of traffic, and actively tried to make the most of what this community and this region have to offer. When we live somewhere, it's so easy to feel like we have all the time in the world to explore our community and its surroundings, and I've spoken to so many people who have found that years or even a lifetime goes by without them actually experiencing and enjoying what's right on their doorstep. So I actually ended up making a list of all the places I wanted to go, experiences I wanted to have, a sort of bucket list for before I move away. I have a cousin who spent 6 months living in Barcelona for a university exchange, and he helped me compile a list of must-see places in the city. When I told him how much I'd seen and done in 3 days, he said that he had only done less than a quarter of those. And that's not to say that a jam-packed whirlwind of a trip is better or worse than getting to experience what daily life feels like in a place over an extended period of time. But it does make me think of the limited and uncertain amount of time we all have on this earth and how we could never possibly experience everything. But if we get intentional about the life and experiences we would like to create, we can make a plan and work towards the things we find the most fulfilling and rewarding. On a micro scale, when I planned my 3-day itinerary in Barcelona, I ordered my stops by both geography and priority, also taking cost into account. So basically, I rated which places I wanted to go to from most to least using a scale from 1 to 3. 1 being what I absolutely couldn't miss, 3 being something I don't mind if I don't get around to, and 2 was somewhere in between. I also plotted all the different locations on a map to see which attractions were close to each other so that I could minimize the time and money I spent getting from one place to another. I found that this allows me to get the most out of my days. I devoted 1 day to each of the 3 broad areas of the city that my itinerary encompassed, and each day I worked my way down the priority list from 1 to 3. That way I knew that I would get to see, experience, and eat whatever I'm most interested in, and as I worked my way down the list, I wouldn't be devastated if I'm not able to get around to something at the bottom. I hope the way I've explained that makes sense. I also noticed how I've been applying this principle in my regular life and days as well. I'm not a morning person, but as I've experimented with different morning and evening and daily routines, I've noticed that the best way that I can guarantee that I do the things that matter the most to me and make the biggest difference in my day is if I do them first thing in the morning after I wake up. Because our days and lives can be unpredictable, and the later in my day I put something off until, the greater the chance is that I won't get around to it because I run out of time or energy or something else comes up or you know how it goes.
Oh no, my nose is bleeding.
And so, as I settle back into my impermanent, indefinite home, I wonder about the people who are just passing through, where they're all going, and where I'm going. Because, in a way, we're all just passing through.